Hello, everybody, and welcome back to week 13 of the NFL season. This is Rambling and Gambling. Today, we're bringing you a full breakdown of the DFS main Sunday slate. We're going to kind of just go game by game, give out our favorite players at each position. And at the end, we'll, of course, always build a lineup. Seems like we've been having more success on the DFS side of things than the spread pick side of things as of lately.
Yeah, I mean, you can only really go up from there, from where our picks are at. There's no really getting worse.
Yeah.
I've placed in the Millie Maker 3 weeks in a row now. So,
well, I don't know if that's a whole lot to celebrate. Just placing
away from making a million. So I think I'm getting close.
Well, you were on because I remember the week before last, Corey had the great call of the Packers game when we faded the Chiefs Broncos. Last week, was it you that was on the 49ers Vikings?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Had a lot of Justin Jefferson, a lot of Kittle.
Thielen.
I think I don't know.
Kittle didn't do anything.
Kittle didn't do anything. Elijah Mitchell.
Debo.
Elijah Mitchell.
Oh, it was the Gronk pick. That's what it was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, everyone had Gronk, though. That didn't really separate you.
30%. So knocked out 70% of the field. I'll take it. I think that's what got me in the money, honestly. But
all right. Well, we're gonna go ahead and now break down the slate. So first off, we will go over the first game. We have Indianapolis at Houston. What do we think here, Nick? What plays do you have?
Yeah, I mean, obviously Jonathan Taylor's just kind of feels like a lock, but honestly, I think it kind of might be a trap this week, especially for $9,200. They've been using him so much that I think they at least decrease his workload if it's a blowout early. So I actually kind of like Michael Pittman and Naheem Hines. If you have to go down to $4,000 for someone, I think could have a good game. Just based off the fact they can't just run Taylor 50 carries a game, 50 touches a game. And I think this is one where they can sit him out a little bit more. I'd expect a heavy first half, but, kind of slow down from there. So I'm fading Jonathan Taylor this week for that reason. I always like to play T.Y. Hilton just because you could do the T.Y. dance, but he's a pretty good price.
He also shreds Houston. So if he's at least healthy for 3 quarters, maybe you can get a couple of big touchdowns.
Yeah, he's like historically one of the best wide receivers down in Houston.
Yeah.
So he's tempting to see if he's got a little magic left.
Alex, what do you have from this game?
I don't have a ton for this game. I do like if Baby Hands Jack Doyle doesn't play. Mo Alley Cox feels like a good play here.
There's a chance he doesn't play?
He's questionable right now. I don't know that he was limited in practice today. So
I would like that a little bit, if he's out for sure.
Yeah, I mean,
he had 20 points last week. He had a nice day.
Yeah, but if he's out, Mo Alley Cox is. You said Jack Doyle is the one that might be injured.
He's questionable right now. He
plays 2.6K.
Yeah, and if Doyle plays, he's only 3.3K against not great Houston defense. Where I think the Colts will run it up pretty early and just second half.
They're going to mix it up. I think this is their opportunity to try some new stuff out. They got to make a playoff push. They're going to have to get creative. I think this is a great scrimmage for them.
You have to also realize though they're not in the position. I know Nick, you said that they might just take this game, use this game for Jonathan Taylor to get it, but at the same time, they need wins everywhere. Every game they need a win. Totally. They're not messing around. Yeah, I think that they win this game handedly, but I think that if it was close, you could see JT have played the entire game, and that's probably what you want. If you're playing JT, you want that.
Yeah, my big assumption there is really just early first half lead, 21 points or something. 14, 21 points, and they kind of just mix it up.
Yeah. Alex, so Mo Ali Cox was your sneaky play. Do you have anyone else?
Yeah, no, I mean, JT is evergreen. Like, there's weeks that you have to play him to win a tournament. So, like, I mean, we could say it every week, like he's in play.
Oh yeah, he's always in play for
no
sure.
matter what the price is. Like, dude could put up 50 points. So
yeah, he's a player where like he's always in play. It's just you have to decide whether you're fading him or you're gonna play him.
exactly.
And I'm gonna be probably on. I'm not gonna completely fade him because he is going against the Texans, and I think there's enough value on this slate that you can mix and match some really cheap plays that we'll get into later with Jonathan Taylor. But I probably won't play like a ton of him just because there's some other guys I like a little bit more. I don't really have interest in the quarterbacks, as I usually like quarterbacks in games that I think can go back and forth. So it gives more potential for that quarterback to score a lot more fantasy points. And I don't really see that here. So that's why I don't really have too much interest in I have a little bit of interest in Brandon Cooks just because he's really the only guy on the Texans. Like that's where the whole passing offense moves through. And I still don't think the Colts secondary is that great. So yeah.
We have a Rex Burkhead starting game here.
Oh, I'm not playing Rex Burkhead. That's I'll be playing 150 lineups this is the week where I actually have a ticket to the $555 Millie Maker. So I have to really I've been doing a little extra research this week just because I'm only competing with 4,000 people for $1 million. So hopefully I can.
Dude, that'd be wild.
You're on the 1 yard line. You don't pull
red zone. I'd say red zone. Red zone. There's still 4,000 people. I give them red zone.
Yeah, there's still a very small % chance you take it down, but I mean you finish in the top 25%, I still double my money. So, and it was a ticket. I have to put any of my own money into it. So.
What tournament did you have to enter? Or what did you?
It was like one of those small like $10 things out of like. I forget. There was like 50 people, and I won it on a showdown slate, I think.
Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah. So I have that this week. I have some conviction plays, but we'll get into those. They're not really in this game. I won't be playing. I don't think anyone from this game. I will be fading JT in my main tournament. So. And Corey, who's not on the show today, did say one of his conviction plays was Jonathan Taylor, of course, Colts fan. So
big surprise there.
Yeah. So next game we have Giants at Miami. Kind of two middling teams here. Is there any fantasy interest or what plays do you have interest in here, Alex?
Yeah, I don't Waddle has been playing well recently, but I don't love him in this spot because he's probably going to get Bradenberry or Bradbury.
James Bradbury.
Yeah. So I don't love that, which then
kind of slot corner.
I think
Bradbury.
Does he?
Bradbury is kind of more of like a big. He's like six, like I want to say like 6'3". Like he's like a bigger corner, but he is fairly. He's runs like 4'4", 4'5", maybe. I think 4'5". But yeah, I don't know how if he'll match up with Waddle, but maybe they'll just use him on Waddle because the Dolphins have no one else.
Right. That was kind of my logic in like going to Gesicki is like if Bradbury's on Waddle, like the only other guy that Tua passes to is Gesicki. Also,
he's not been doing well.
Not great, but the Giants' run defense is garbage, and they've finally been giving the ball to Myles Gaskin, and like incorporating him in like the short passing game. What are his last?
I've been playing Gaskin like that. You say Gaskin, and he does have a great match against the Giants. It's just he scored 2 touchdowns and he still had 19 fantasy points. It's like his upside is so bad. Like it's tough.
It's tough.
Yeah, he's a guy I had early in the fantasy season and very quickly dropped because it's like he'll have a game like that where he has 2 touchdowns and he like is playable in like a fantasy league. But you're right, like his yards are he had probably
terrible. He just like
Like if you
how
have
do you
touchdowns and you put up
2 touchdowns and he scored
20
not even 20?
Yeah. So
His best game was, besides if you take out that Tampa Bay game, the most points he's had all year is 19.
yeah,
And now they just traded for Philip Lindsay.
I didn't know that. So that yeah.
So like, and Lindsay got some touches last week. It's just that backfield. I don't know. It is a good matchup though.
I feel like this is a low scoring game. I don't see a ton of plays here unless you're just trying to get really different.
Yeah. I don't think you could really play anyone on the Giants confidently at this point in the season. Just too sporadic, very hit or miss, and like the hits are like not that great. So, under 20 points. So I just don't think the upside's there. You don't need to assume the risk of playing a Giants player, especially against a hot Dolphins defense. So strongly recommend you don't play a Giants player. I also don't like Gesicki for $5,100. I think he's just not done well the past like 6 weeks, really. Barely breaking 10 points, if that. So I just think there's better options out there. But I don't mind Gaskins, and Waddle put up 31 points last week. He's starting to emerge at the kind of the Jamar Chase type of level, and he's doing it very quietly. So
He's very good.
Yeah, I really like Waddle. I have no problem playing him for his price. I think he's at $6,400. I think, if you have the potential to put up 30 points as a ceiling and 15 as a floor, I'm happy to do that. So I like him a lot.
Yeah, I don't really like targeting players from games with like 40-point totals.
Yeah.
But the only I like Saquon a little bit just because he's so cheap at 6,300. He played like 85. He was back to his like full workload. We saw him have a little bit of burst, break off of maybe he had like a 30-yard run against the Eagles, which we hadn't seen in a while. And he's more of just a price point play for me. I don't really like anyone else from this game. I guess the Dolphins defense, a little bit of interest, but
yeah. I had Saquon in my Millie Maker last week in the flex, and he was the one player that killed me. So I have to stay away this week just with some recency bias. But I hear you. For that price, it's a steal. And I thought the same thing last week too.
Yeah. But it's more I'll just have him in my player pool, but I'm not like throwing him in a bunch of lineups. He'll just be in the player pool. Yeah. But Minnesota at Detroit is the next game we have. Divisional game. Vikings going into Detroit. What do we have here? We'll start out with Alex.
Yeah, I'd love Jamal Williams in this spot with DeAndre Swift most likely not playing. I don't think they officially ruled him out yet, but like with that shoulder.
No, yeah, I doubt I don't think he plays.
He's not going to play.
Yeah, I don't think so either. And this Detroit team has obviously showed that they love to run the ball and they love to dump the ball off to their running backs, even though Jamal's not quite the pass catcher that Swift is. At 5.4K, we love our backup starting running backs in DFS, right? Because their price tag, especially on teams that, like this, like what we were saying earlier, not Indy, but teams that love to run the ball. When you got your starter out, the back.
Yeah, well, it's when DraftKings, they make the salaries like Sunday night after the last games, and then they don't change the price of the players. Like Madison, there's a couple backups that they just no matter what price up.
Yeah.
And Dalvin Cook happened during the game, so they knew to price him up.
Yeah, Madison's at $7,600. They weren't making that mistake twice. He's actually a really good running back. I think he'd probably be a starter on pretty much any other team.
All you have to do is imagine Dalvin Cook at that price, and that's who it is.
They use him the same way. They use him the exact same way. And I feel like minus some of the pass catching that Swift does, they use Jamal Williams in the same way in this game that they do Swift. And that amount of target share and the amount of touches he's going to see is like at 5.4K. He's almost a must play for me. So I love Jamal in this game.
Nick?
Yep. Jefferson's hard to kind of ignore here. I think last time they played Detroit, he put up 22 points, had like 130 yards on 7 catches. So, he's just got that big play potential. He could break off and get a lot of yards after catch against his defense. So I love that a lot. I think Thielen had a good game last week, got a couple touchdowns. But he's getting old. So I don't think he does that consistently week over week. So it kind of makes me like Jefferson more. I think they kind of go back to him and mix it up. Although I guess like the one downside is I could see them going up big and not needing to throw a ton. So I typically like to play receivers in higher scoring games and, in games that are going to be closer. You really get all 4 quarters out of these guys that way. So I guess that's my only hedging thought there, but
I think Justin Jefferson, the last time they played, I believe he had like 100 yards at halftime. As they played earlier this year, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. He's always in play. So he's about to set the record for the first 2 years receiving yards. I think it's Odell that has that record right now, right?
Yep.
With like 2,600 yards.
Can we just pause for a sec? Can you imagine Justin Jefferson and what's his name? I'm drawing a blank. Jamar Chase on the same team.
Yeah, I've been saying before Justin Jefferson was even in the NFL. I was saying like that LSU college team is, in my opinion, the best college football team that's ever played. In my opinion, the best.
No wonder Burrow looked amazing.
Well, I mean, Burrow's a stud too.
But Burrow still looks good.
He's good too.
Yeah, but he's very good.
But when you throw into those two guys and like PEH was there,
like
too.
you might have Justin Jefferson set the record and then Jamar Chase break it like next year, like his next season. It's ridiculous. So
pretty crazy.
Justin Jefferson's always in play. I'm with you. Jamal Williams I'm probably he's gonna be one of my most overweight players that in the exposure I have in tournaments. I'll probably be playing him in my 555 Billy Maker. Yeah.
Are you worried that with the Swift news and his price tag that he'll be like very highly owned?
Yeah, but so like in smaller field stuff, like in like 4,000 field tournaments, you can get away with playing like the really good plays that are going to be, chalky, and a lot of people are going to be playing them. And then you just get different, probably get different, like the receiver position and the tight end, defense, quarterback. But running back is usually where I just try to jam in like the good high end, and at their price tags, like, this isn't where I get different. Like maybe other people's strategy, but I don't really get different at the running back position. That's kind of always been my strategy. I'll play and there's a chance we'll get into another cheap running back, which is, again, I think that's another reason why Jonathan Taylor is a stronger fade this week, is because there's some very cheap running back plays on the slate where Jonathan Taylor has to for example, if Jamal Williams gets 22, and even if Jonathan Taylor gets 30 points, you'd probably rather have played Jamal Williams. Jonathan Taylor has to really kill you. And these cheap running backs have to really not do that well for Jonathan Taylor for that play to work out. So that's another, strong reason to maybe go underweight on JT. Alexander Madison, I'm going to have some exposure to him. He's reasonably priced, so it's not like I can lock him in, but I will be playing a fair amount of him. Josh Reynolds at 3,400. I liked him on that Thanksgiving slate that we took, before that game. And, it's crazy. I had like 25. Jared Goff. Yeah. And on the Rams. And so he's like the wide receiver 1 on that team, and he's 3,400. If you're game stacking that, if you like this game to shoot out, I think Josh Reynolds is one of the best cheap options to use in that game stack. But other than that, Vikings defense in consideration, because you're playing the Lions, so you're going against Goff. At 3,200, that's fine. Like, I'll have them in my player pool. But I don't have too much interest in the quarterbacks. Next game we have Philly at Jets. We'll start out with Nick. What plays do you have here?
I think similar story to some of the other games we talked about, like probably a lower scoring game. I do favor the Eagles side. I always kind of like Devonta Smith. I think he has a pretty high ceiling. Rigor, I saw has had the most drops like ever in NFL history something. So
he's bad. We've known he was bad since last year.
And you know what's just funny that Justin Jefferson, like you drafted Rager over Justin Jefferson. Ugh.
Yeah, that one definitely hurts, especially last week. He blew my Eagles pick to cover, and he dropped 2 touchdown passes at the end of the game. So he is on my hit list for sure. But disappointed to see that for the Eagles. I think they probably come out pretty strong and kind of continue and try and build on the passing attack. We know they're in rebuild mode. I think they're still probably trying for the playoffs, like in their hearts, but probably realistically won't make it at this point. So I think they go to their rookie, Devonta Smith, get him some more experience. So I think this is a good game against the Jets to kind of give him a good confidence boost on somewhat of a rough year.
Yeah, I don't think I'd play many picks from this game. Corey's conviction play is at tight end is Goddard. That was kind of who I was looking at in this game as well. I just don't see this
$4,500.
Yeah, I don't see this game. Like the Eagles run the ball, the Jets can't score the ball. So I don't see this game lasting very long. I don't see this game scoring a ton. So I'm fading a lot of these plays. I mean, Hurts's rushing ability against a Jets defense, it's like somewhat intriguing, but
he's also his ankle's banged up. He might not run much.
Right. Yeah, I think there's better plays around his price tag as well. So I don't have a ton here.
I was hoping Miles Sanders would have been out because I probably would have had Boston Scott in almost every lineup I made. The Jets' run defense is terrible. The Eagles do match up really well because of that, because that's what the Eagles like to do. But now it's seeming like Miles Sanders will play. And I've been burned by Miles Sanders so many times.
Yes.
Like
I can't do it either.
It's so hard. I can't do it. I know I'll just do it, and it'll be like one quarter in, and he'll be out on the sideline again. Every time that's what happens. There's 1 week I played him in every single lineup. It was my lock, every single lineup, and all my other players were doing great, and he just killed me so hard, just seeing like a big old 0, and I don't know if I can do that to myself again. So
it's kind of like Myles Gaskin, where it's like this guy.
Myles Gaskin can at least put up like 10 points. Like True. Sanders just will burn you.
I just feel like they both should be good running backs. Like they both seem like they should like.
Well, Sanders to me actually has like what I think would be more talent, than Gaskin.
Oh, agreed.
And so like I don't know.
Yeah, you'd think
I'll have to look at some reports because I have loved to pick on this Jets run D all year. But yeah, I could just see them just doing their committee backfield again. I hope Jordan Howard's active so I can just not play anyone. I just hope they just split all 3 ways and I don't have to worry about it. But yeah, other than the running back, I will play a little bit Goddard, but I think a sneaky tight end play. And I know every single show on this, I talk about picking on the Eagles defense against the tight end position. And I'm going to play a little bit of Ryan Griffin. You know, I play every week. If the Eagles are on the slate, I will have the tight end against them in my player pool. And he's very cheap. He runs quite a few routes. And, you know, the thing is, we know the Jets are going to probably be playing from behind. The Eagles are solid against receivers. I think you could see just a lot of passes coming to Ryan Griffin. And he's really good leverage off of another really cheap tight end that's going to be the chalk of the entire slate that everyone's going to be playing. And it's going to be really hard not to play him, but at the same price tag, he's like good leverage.
He's only scored over 10 points in 1 game.
Okay. But
So
at the same time, I mean, yeah, I'm just doing it because the Eagles are the worst team in the league against tight ends.
yeah. So it could be one of his best games, but
yeah. It's not like I don't think I can play him on my main $555 tournament team, but I will play him in my 150 lineups, like some exposure.
Yeah, it's funny we haven't even talked about how good Elijah Moore has been the past couple of weeks. I mean, man, that guy's on a hot streak.
The rookie receivers, they're showing out this year.
I just don't. He doesn't have a good matchup against the Eagles. I don't like him against Darius Slay at all. So
yeah,
I don't know. I think he regresses here.
Yeah, but not a whole lot of interest from that game. Next game, we have Arizona at Chicago. Looks like Kyler Murray and Hopkins will be returning.
It's going to be a slush fest. It's supposed to snow, rain, a little bit of both.
Yeah. Really? So I'm coming up there this weekend. It will be snowing tomorrow.
No, I think just Sunday. When the Bears play, it always rains in Chicago.
Yeah, tomorrow's supposed to be nice. Saturday and Sunday are going to suck.
Okay, so we got a little bit of a weather game going on Sunday. Yep.
Yeah, we might get Murray and Hopkins back. What are we thinking here?
I don't know. What do you anything from here, Alex?
Yeah, Hopkins at 6.2K is very, very enticing. On price tag alone, he hasn't been the same guy this year as he has in years past, and I think that it's been a hamstring, right, that's kept him out. I think that
it was a hamstring.
I think that's been nagging him a little bit, like most of the year, and he's played through it. And then when they shut down Kyler, they were like, all right, D-Hop, like, take a break too. We'll be all right. Like Colt McCoy
should be 100% now.
You're right. Yeah. And like Colt McCoy can get him to 2-1, like can go 2-1 because the rest of the team is that good.
Yeah.
I think that like I said, 6.2K is just kind of for a guy with that talent who we're assuming is going to be healthy after taking
probably really low owned.
Yeah. I love that play on this game. Bears defense has been playing well, could get a little bit sloshy here, but I still think the Cardinals put up points, and I don't see it happening a ton in the run game, like maybe some like red zone or like first like 1 yard line, like James Conner banging it in. But yeah,
I was going to ask, how do you think that run defense is doing? Because now you don't have debatably your two best defenders in Khalil Mack and Akeem Hicks.
Yeah, it's definitely not as good. But the Bears always have been able to scheme up a good run defense, regardless.
Do you think they're still holding it together?
I mean, they're not like top tier by any means, but they're definitely not like hot trash, even without those top two guys. I could definitely see Connor putting in 1 or 2 from like short distance, but I think in terms of like not sleeper, because it's D-Hop, and I don't think you could ever label D-Hop a sleeper, but at his price tag, that's definitely my play from this game.
Yeah. I like him and Connor both in the 6,000 range. I don't like anyone from the Bears. I loved Montgomery last year. I thought he would have another great season. We know he got injured in the past 2 games. I think he's been back. He has not been very efficient as a runner. I think it's probably due to that offensive line more than anything.
Yeah.
But for me, he's kind of fantasy irrelevant at this point. So I'm only playing Connor, little D-Hop, but that's it for here.
So I don't like the quarterbacks in this game. The running backs I'm very iffy on. Their prices are pretty solid. The thing about James Conner is he is so touchdown dependent. Like in the games he hasn't scored a touchdown, he scored 8 fantasy points, 2 and 5.
He's not how the Cardinals move down the field.
I know, but the thing is, he's been like some players, like it's such a small sample size with just NFL seasons in general, and James Conner isn't some like back that I would consider good. He hasn't had 100 yards rushing yet this year. So his upside is so dependent on touchdowns. Like besides his 40-point game that everyone remembers, the most fantasy points he's had is 20. So there's been times when he's had 2 touchdowns and he's had 14 fantasy points, 18, 20. It's kind of like the Gaskin thing, but he's just scored more touchdowns than Gaskin. And going against like a Bear, I don't know. He's a good price just because he is so involved, but
yeah,
it's just his upside is so limited. Like I think there's other running backs on this slate. I think even Montgomery definitely has, I think Connor has a higher floor and is going to be more popular on the slate. Montgomery has a higher ceiling, that's for sure. We know Montgomery has like 100-yard games in him.
Couple touchdowns. Yeah.
And he gets opportunity. Like he gets like 85, 90% of the snaps.
I'm just scared when I see, like last week, he had 17 carries for 50 something yards. Like when he has all the opportunities and he's not doing anything.
You have to understand that's literally James Conner. Let me read you some of James Conner. 21 attempts, 60 yards.
Yeah.
10 attempts, 64 yards, 16 attempts, 71 yards, 18 attempts, 50 yards, 16 attempts. It's like terrible.
Yeah.
He just gets there in the red zone. I don't know. He'll probably burn you if he scores like 2 touchdowns, maybe, but you literally need touchdowns from Connor in order to even like hit his floor.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't have a whole lot of interest in player. I like Allen Robinson's back. I have a slight interest because Dalton's finally playing and not Fields. And we know Dalton's been a better passer and probably will look towards Allen Robinson a bit more. So I think getting him at a cheap 5K price tag is worth a sprinkle. And Hopkins coming back at his lowest price tag we've seen in probably, I don't know, since the beginning of his career. I'll have to have some Hopkins and not missing the boat on a Hopkins return game, especially if his hammy's 100%.
Yeah.
So can we digress for like 1 second though?
Yeah.
I'm never ever PB going to listen to your Justin Fields slander ever again after your Jameis Winston is better than Russell Wilson take. I will never.
What?
I will never.
When did he say that?
Nick, what are you talking about when I've said that? You've been in the chats. You know what my thoughts on Winston
are. You've been praying that Russell Wilson comes to the Saints, which I totally understand.
No, I haven't. I don't want that because we'll have to pay Wilson so much money when we know we can get Winston, who I think is a great quarterback. We're not going to get into whole Winston Saints talk here, but I think
Winston is a good quarterback.
Winston went 5-2 with that same, and then we lose 4 straight. Winston is good. Like he turned it around, going to the Saints, getting that surgery on his eyes. He can see where he's throwing the ball.
He can see the light.
It matters.
Maybe we chalk this one up to old father time here because we could probably spend the whole podcast just talking about our Jameis Winston takes. Yeah. Let's move into what I think is my favorite game, probably for DFS. What's that?
Well, one of the games of the week for sure, if not the game of the week. Probably the game of the this is the game of the week.
Yep, Chargers.
Or at least on the DFS slate.
For sure.
Yeah. I think you can, throw a blind dart here and kind of hit gold.
Yeah, Chargers at the Bengals. Bengals super hot, Chargers hot and then cold. Maybe this is their hot again right here, and we just have a nice shootout, which is good for DFS. So Nick, or it looks like Alex. You want to say something?
I was just going to say, I think for sure this is the DFS game of the week, but there's something in me that's telling me that this is an under game. Like this is like a sneaky under game with the corners on both sides of the ball. I just feel like I love the running backs in this game, but I feel like this could. I feel like everyone's going in their heads. They're going, this is a shootout. Both offenses clicking, bunch of young talent on both sides of the ball. But I don't know. Something's telling me to fade this a little bit.
Hey, I mean, that's what DFS is about. Like you pick spots, and like if this is going to be a game that gets popular, which I could see it, being it'll definitely be one of the more popular games. Kind of like Corey when he had that conviction, like he was convicted. Like
follow your gut.
It was like I was all over that Chiefs Cowboys game that one week, and I was wrong, and Corey had his perfect leverage and he won a bunch of money. So that if this is your game to fade, it's just finding the other game that you could think could be a sneaky shootout that's under-owned, and that's how you win these tournaments.
Yeah, very true.
So, what if you were to what plays do you like from this game though?
I mean, both the running backs.
Oh yeah, the running backs. You said that.
Yeah, Eckler and Mixon are just dogs. Like, get a ton of touches in both the run and pass game. Like, get into the end zone. Mixon has 3 straight games with 2 touchdowns.
He's put up 25 plus points in the past 4 weeks, and he hasn't been priced over 8K yet.
Yeah.
So I've been enjoying the mistakes made by DraftKings all season there. I think honestly part of the reason I've been placing the Millie Makers for Joe Mixon. So I have to stay on the Joe Mixon train, especially knowing just schematically how that Chargers defense likes to lock down the pass and they make you beat you on the ground. So I really like Joe Mixon in this spot. I'm also very intrigued by Mike Williams and T. Higgins, some big receivers being $5,700. I like the wide receiver twos here for both sides. I think they, if it is a shootout, these guys are going to eat and pay for their prices. So I really like them a lot. I mean, obviously, I think you could talk all day about how good Jamar Chase is, especially at $7,000. But like I was saying in the past podcast, I want to see if Asante Samuel's in. I think that'd be a really fun young matchup, and 2 players we'll see in the NFL for a long time. So kind of just excited to watch it as an NFL fan.
Yeah, I will definitely be playing, I think, some of both these quarterbacks and game stacking this one up. This is the first game where I have interest in some of the quarterbacks. And I also like Mixon, very good matchup against the Chargers. He's pricier, but he's shown why he's warranted that price tag.
Yeah.
He's just been dominant this whole year. Now goes against one of the worst rush defenses in the league, because that's just how the Chargers, you talked about, that's how they scheme their defense. They make you beat you through on the ground. Eckler, I think I slightly prefer Mixon, but Eckler is I think the Bengals probably have a weaker run defense than they do a pass defense. So he's in play as well. And then, I mean, since if I'm going to game stack this, there's not one particular receiver that I like. I'll just kind of be mixing and matching them. I'll definitely be playing 2 of them. So if I'm playing Herbert, I'm probably going Keenan Allen and Mike Williams, or Herbert, Eckler, Mike Williams, things, and then always bringing it back for the player from the other side. I do think Jamar Chase is due for a massive game here soon. He just gets so many air yards, and he hasn't gotten as many targets as of recent, but I think he's going to have an absolute explosion game here soon.
Yeah. I think we could safely say that T. Higgins is the solidified number 2 receiver over Tyler Boyd there.
Oh, 100%. I think it's always been that way. T. Higgins is a very good receiver.
Yeah. I mean, Tyler Boyd was their guy up, last year and a couple of years before that. He was always wide receiver 1, post AJ Green era. So it's kind of interesting to see him fall to wide receiver 3 spot. And he's still good. So I just think T. Higgins is that good.
Yeah, and even Uzoma is someone the Chargers, in addition to being bad against the run, they're also pretty weak against the tight end. So if you do let's see, a Burrow, Chase, Uzoma, and that gives you a little bit of that salary savings while still getting your double stack in there. I love game stacking this one up a lot. But the next game we have is Tampa Bay at Atlanta. I think there will be definitely interest in this game, but probably a little more one-sided. We'll start with Alex. What plays do you like here?
Yeah, I think if I'm sticking to my gut and fading that last game, I think this is the game that I'm going heavy on.
I like that.
And obviously, I mean, it's going to be more favored on the Bucs side, obviously. But I think that an interesting play here could be, God, I hate to say it, but I think Russell Gage is in play here. I think
he's
that,
definitely in play.
yeah, I mean, the Bucks always put up points. Very rarely do they score under, 20. So I think that the Falcons are going to have to throw the ball. And I don't think with that Buccaneers front and Vita Vea being healthy and back, that Cordarrelle is going to have the type of games that he's been having lately since, or at least last week since he came back, and then earlier in the season. But yeah, I mean, honestly, just like Nick, you were saying there's a dart throw in the last game, like throw a dart and you're probably going to be all right. I think with the Bucks pass catchers, throw a dart and you're probably going to be all right.
No, we got that news that AB is suspended for the next 3 weeks due to his fake ID. So I like you're saying, it's always a coin flip between Mike Evans and Godwin. So can't go wrong there.
Yeah, I lean Godwin's way just because he had a bad game last week. I think that I could see Brady trying to get him picked back up and get his mind right or whatever. He's probably fine.
Yeah,
but
it's a very Brady thing to do.
Yeah. So yeah, that's my play there. You got OJ Howard coming back, which hasn't done it. Yeah, true.
So if you're stacking, so you're going like the Brady double stack with like a Gage bring back is kind of stack.
Yeah, I would say Brady, Godwin. You could even go Brady, Godwin, Gronk, and then Gage bringing it back.
Yeah. Okay, Nick.
No Lenny Fournette in there with almost 50 points last week, putting up a Jonathan Taylor level.
Yeah, but
game.
Brady, if Lenny has, I mean, unless Lenny's pitching some touchdowns, like it, usually it's one of the year Lenny that can go off. But
no, it's funny to see someone put up that many points and then next week they're only 7K.
Yeah, but that's still higher than he's been all year.
Yeah. No, I think Alex covered it. Coin flip on Bucks receivers. I'm not too confident, and I don't really love the Falcons, so I don't go there too often. So that's all I got for this one.
Yeah, if after Lenny's big game, I could see him being a lot more popular. People love playing the guys that just had the big game and then they have a letdown spot. I
hard to replicate that production. I mean, let's be honest.
And people will pay the more expensive price tag. The most expensive he's been all year after a big game. It's just like the epitome of buying high. But I think the better matchup of Evans and Godwin is Godwin, as Evans will probably see more of AJ Terrell, who's been absolutely locked down this year. So I prefer Godwin between the two. And then on the Falcons side, Gage, definitely in consideration, but I think Pitts is my favorite Falcon. I think Pitts is going to have a big game here soon. And, I've been playing, he's been in my player pool like most of the year besides a few weeks. And yeah, there's definitely been some letdown spots here and there, but I mean, he just is basically you're getting a receiver in the tight end position. And we saw him put up in that London game or whatever, 30 points, and they should be playing from behind. This should be a faster paced game with both teams, passing a lot. And yeah, I think Pitts is he's one of my favorite overall plays of the week. So I'm going to have a lot of Pitts. But yeah, I think, and then Corey, in his conviction play said Godwin was another one of his conviction play at the receiver position on the whole slate. Yeah, but Godwin is one of the best receiver plays for sure on the whole slate.
Yeah. What do you say move to this next game here? My favorite receiver of the week, actually.
Well, we have to see the game first.
Yeah. So Washington versus Las Vegas. My favorite pick is Hunter Renfrow. Darren Waller's banged up, questionable to play. We know Derek Carr.
He's not playing. Yeah, I don't think he's playing.
He's for sure out. That
I
makes me
think
like
he's pretty
Hunter
like
even
it's
more.
not like
Doubtful.
official, but he's not playing.
He's down.
one of those.
Yeah.
Well, I think we saw Thanksgiving Day Hunter Renfrow kind of breakout party starting to become kind of the locker room favorite there. You go and read all the beat reporters in Las Vegas when they're writing up their articles. They're all talking about Hunter, and I think they're going to have to pass on this really weak Washington defense, or pass defense, I should say. So I like him a lot in this spot. He's kind of my favorite play this week.
Okay.
Who do you guys
Alex?
have?
Yeah, I agree with that. I think we've seen that Derek Carr can put up tons of yards, especially against like not great defenses. And so I totally agree with the Renfrow play. Derek Carr clearly has a connection with him, loves throwing him the ball, whether it's down the field or, at the goal line, shorts. They get him involved. Pretty much every offensive possession, he's involved. So I like that play a lot. Do we know, is Logan Thomas playing?
Yeah.
He is playing.
Mm-hmm.
I do like Logan Thomas then. Like if him or Ricky Seals-Jones plays, I like both of them under, at or under 4K. Just because Heineke seems to, obviously Scary Terry is a dude, but Heineke definitely likes throwing the ball to those athletic tight ends that he's got there. So I like that on the Washington side of the ball.
Okay. I think Hunter Renfrow is a good cash game play. I think he can get you, he has a pretty high floor all year. I think like let me look, what's the least amount of points he's had? It's like he's been very consistent every week. Let's see.
He put up 7 against Cincinnati and 6 against Denver, but the rest are all over.
Yeah,
10
it's like
points.
pretty much like a 11, 12 point floor.
Yeah.
But
put up 25 last week.
Yeah, he put up. Yeah. He put up. That's his only game over 100 yards this year. So what I'm gonna do is, I think there's a good chance I'll have him in my double ups, but I don't think I'll have any of him in tournaments. I just think and now it's like one of his most expensive price tags of his whole career at 5.8K. I just think you have other receivers at that same price range that have just such a higher ceiling. And I know it's a great matchup against Washington, but it's just the player himself. He doesn't have a high ADOT. I know Waller will be out as well, but I think this is honestly more of a Deshaun Jackson, I think, might be on the injury report right now, but I think they didn't say it that serious. So I think like Deshaun Jackson or Bryan Edwards could be like a really sneak. And I love those plays because Renfrow is going to be really popular this week. I have him projected at over 20% ownership right now.
Yep. Talk a lot about leverage. So.
Oh yeah. The Deshaun Jackson and Bryan Edwards are amazing leverage points. And then I do think I have interest in Derek Carr this week. I think he has a great matchup against Washington. Throws for a lot of yards. I think you're going to get that 300-yard bonus for sure. A couple touchdowns. Hopefully you can get that 3rd and 4th because he doesn't run the ball. So he does have to get like that 3rd and 4th touchdown to win you tournaments. I think there's a big letdown spot on the Washington side. So I don't really think I'm going to play Heineke. But I honestly, in lineups that I don't play like Derek Carr and like game stack that, I really like the Raiders defense. If you go through, like, I love getting defenses that have not scored a defensive touchdown the whole year, that bring a lot of pressure, that have all the stats that other teams have that are getting defensive touchdowns, and they just haven't, we always talk about regression, and I do think they're going to have a defensive touchdown this year. And I think it could be right here against a big letdown spot from Washington. As I said in the spread show, the Raiders are like my lock of the week. And Foster Moreau is currently going to be the highest projected ownership on any player in of the entire slate. At probably in double ups, he'll be like 85% owned, I'd guess.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
And in tournaments, he'll probably like in the Millie Maker he'll probably definitely be over 20%, maybe over 30%. It's because Darren Waller's out and he's 2,700, and he's not just like a tight end that just gonna block the whole game. He's gonna run a lot of routes. The last time Waller missed, he had like 6 for 60 and a touchdown, I think. But yeah, and he has a good matchup against Washington. So in cash games, I think you're definitely playing Moreau. But in tournaments, I always say, like, especially at the tight end position, you don't play people that are going to be 40+% owned. So it's going to be this is the fade I was talking about. So like a leverage off of Moreau would be like Ryan Griffin at the same price. All he has to do is outscore Moreau. Or you just pay up at tight end and you have a different roster construction than everyone else. So I don't know. Those are kind of the plays from that game. But I'm debating on putting Moreau in my 550. I don't think I can out of pure principle, but we'll see. Next game, we have Jacksonville at Rams. This is very one-sided game here. What interest do we have starting with Nick?
It's kind of a tough one. I don't know that it's going to be a shootout. The Rams haven't even really looked like the Rams recently. So I'm not even that confident in saying like Stafford's just going to shred these guys. But I kind of like OBJ for $5,500. I like the comeback story kind of brewing. So I'm over it at this point, and I like him for $5,500. So I'm going to play Odell this week, but yeah, I mean, Cooper Kupp's always there too. So, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention his name once.
Feed me 2 girls, 1 cup. Well, Cooper Kupp is about to go off this game. This is at home in LA. Rams coming off of 2 bad losses. They are going to want to show out and show people why they've paid all this money. They've given up all these draft picks.
Yeah, they sold out. I mean, this is it.
If they sold out for their entire future for like the next couple of years, so they better get it done here.
And there's like a lot of trades, a lot of draft picks gone. They're building those old vets in their lineup. So, I mean, we got to see something from these guys, right?
If they don't get it done in convincing fashion against the Jaguars, like, I'm completely out on them having any sort of shot getting out of the first round of the playoffs.
Yeah. And I think
I already don't think they have a shot at getting out of the first round of the playoffs, but that's just me.
I don't think that's a crazy take either. Like at this point, I definitely don't think that's a crazy take, but I do think that they're a good enough team that they show why they've done everything they've done. They're at home. McVay has a lot to prove after these couple of bad losses. I think he basically keeps the pedal to the metal. And just I do think this is a blowout. I do think the Rams win by double digits, and I think Cooper Kupp probably goes for 2 touchdowns and at least 70 yards.
Yeah, my favorite play, honestly, from this game is the Rams defense. Like, it's like the one spot where I'm okay paying $4,000 for a defense, mainly because I love Jalen Ramsey revenge games. He's a super emotional guy and one of the best cornerbacks ever. Like, he's the one that's going to take this opportunity to do something crazy to prove his dominance over the number 1 draft pick, Trevor Lawrence. And, that's just who he is. He takes advantage of these spotlight type moments when it's personal to him, and he shows out. It's fun to watch. Love Jalen Ramsey. He's a crazy guy, but I love the Rams defense because I think a pick 6 is not too far out of question here.
Well, and we always talk about too how paying up for a defense in tournaments isn't always the worst play because of how low owned that they're going to be with that price tag. And there's a very good chance that against a Jaguars team, all of those studs on the Rams show out.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think, I'm not playing the quarterbacks in this game because even though I think Stafford could have a good game, I'm not a Stafford guy. I've said I think he's overrated, but in the sense that he's an above average quarterback because he's able to just destroy like bad teams and even sometimes average teams, but he just can't compete against whether he loses close games, whether he gets beat by a lot. Like he just hasn't shown he can compete with like the elite of elite teams in his whole career. And so, he could have a big game here, but usually I like playing quarterbacks again that they're more back and forth. So I'm hoping Darrell Henderson does not play this week because then we get Sony Michel at 4,300, which I would have him in almost every tournament lineup I make. He would be like the bell cow of the Rams against the Jags. And then I still have interest. Yeah, I have interest in Cooper Kupp, Van Jefferson, and probably Odell third, which I'll still have to have some of him. I could see them using this game as like bringing Odell to life, like.
Am I right? Yeah.
Like you literally like this is like, all right, we're going to the playoffs. We want Odell just to like get back on his wagon and, show everyone.
We saw last week he had like 10 targets, I think.
Yeah,
like they were feeding him the ball.
Yeah,
and I know he doesn't help in 10 times a game.
At home in the first time that they've had him and Vaughn, right? Maybe Vaughn has played at home, but one of the first game Odell has been at home.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, and I like the Rams defense a lot. They're another team, have not scored a defensive touchdown yet this entire year. And we know the Rams bring pressure, and we know they get picks. I wish there was a way to where you could specifically bet. I know you can bet like Rams touchdown. Usually it's probably around like plus 400 or something. But I wish you could specifically do one with Jalen Ramsey because you get way better odds.
And touchdown scorer, Jalen Ramsey.
Yeah. I really wish I could.
First touchdown.
Yeah. I really wish I could do that this week because of the Rams defense. It's right now between in my that Millie Maker contest I'm playing this week. I'm debating between the Raiders defense and the Rams defense. And I don't know. I haven't picked which one I'm going to do yet, but the Rams definitely seem like the safer option, but you're also paying like $200 more. I think it'll just depend on the injury news and what other, pieces of my puzzle fit into the lineup. But yeah, those are kind of the plays from that game. Cooper Kupp always like such a good cash game play, but yeah, I mean, Sony Michel is the one I'm waiting on. I just want to see Henderson out so I can just jam Michel in.
Don't you think that at Kupp's price tag though too in tournaments, he's probably fairly low owned because he's
he'll be lower. Like he won't be outrageous. People this week are paying Jonathan Taylor is like the pay up option that people are paying for this week. So like every week on these slates, there's always that one pricey guy that everyone kind of congregates to, and that'll be Jonathan Taylor this week. That'll be the highest owned expensive guy for sure.
I'm just kind of waiting to see like what happens to Cooper Kupp target share now that they have Odell.
What do you mean? We just saw it. He got like 13 targets.
Yeah,
Odell got 10, Van got 9, and Cooper had like 13.
Yeah. But like that was a Green Bay shootout, so like I think everything's kind of inflated. So I'm glad they're playing a shittier team because we're gonna get two different variants in our two-game sample size here.
We'll see like
so
when they're playing.
That's like my only reason for not liking Cooper Kupp, but it's a very stretch of what. Reason to sit him. So yeah,
this is one where I've debated like setting a rule in my 150 lineups where I have to have whether it's Rams defense, Van Jefferson, Cooper Kupp, like I'll just have a Ram in every lineup. I think I'm gonna make that a rule this week.
Yeah.
So yeah, next game we have Baltimore at Pittsburgh, divisional game. These tend to be a little lower scoring. We'll give it. Well, Nick, you'll start off. Your Brownies are in that.
Yeah.
Game, so
the AFC North expert here. Divisional matchup. I really like Mark Andrews. Every game I watch him, I'm like, why isn't this guy considered one of the best?
That catch was unreal.
He's really good. Like for as big as he is, he's super athletic, great blocker. I mean, kind of an ideal, perfect tight end in my opinion. That being said, I like him for 6,000. I think I'm going to pay up for a tight end this week. There's a lot of good cheap options.
You're doing the contrarian. So. You're not going back to the 35% owned tight end like you did last week.
last week I just thought Gronk would. I always go for points. That's
I know you're
my
going
strategy.
for points, but
what is the max total that I could get from my lineup? That's
it's
really
not,
what I
that's
go
not,
for.
it's not always max points though. It's also max value. Like,
Yeah,
like
totally.
if you have Kelsey at 7,000, get 20.
Yeah,
Even if he's the highest scoring tight end on the slate, you'd rather have, a Ryan Griffin scoring 15.
Yeah, sure. I mean, that's why you got salary. It's half the game, right?
Yeah.
But I'm okay paying up for a tight end here. I do most weeks, honestly. Last week kind of went down to 4,400 with Gronk, but I like Mark Andrews a lot. Devonta Freeman didn't look terrible against the Browns run D. He's pretty good. He made Myles Garrett and Jadeveon Clowney look like not that relevant. So I don't hate that against this Pittsburgh front. I think they're pretty similar to the Browns. We saw Freeman get fed a lot. I'm interested to see what they do with Lamar. He threw 4 picks last game. So it's either they go and get him to throw 35 times and, get him to work it out and figure his shit out, or they just stick to the run and just like try and get a good divisional win here. So I'm pretty intrigued how the Ravens decide to play this one. But I think it's going to be lower scoring. So for that reason, I'm out.
Okay.
And for that reason,
Alex?
I just don't have many plays outside of Mark Andrews, honestly.
Yeah. Lamar is my favorite quarterback on the DFS slate this week. I think with the TJ Watt's out, they got a couple of other guys who are banged up or not playing on that either linebacking or defensive line. So I love Lamar in a bounce back spot. This guy, he's a very, 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 very talented quarterback. He's not going to throw another 4 picks. I think that was an anomaly. I think that was him kind of not being 100% from that whatever illness he had, non-COVID, but whatever it was. I don't think he was completely back. And I see with a hurt Steelers front, him just kind of lighting them up. I don't think it's going to be a crazy high scoring game, but with Lamar's rushing upside, I don't think you can fade him here, especially if you're playing a bunch of lineups. But yeah, conviction play at quarterback is definitely Lamar this week.
Okay. I debated, like, Lamar seems like a really good play, and if I play him, I'll have Marquis Brown, I think, on every Lamar team. I prefer him to Mark Andrews this week, as I think the Steelers are a little bit better at guarding tight ends, and they've shown some weakness against receivers. And Marquis Brown gets so many targets, and for a player like him, like that, usually his ADOT is so far down the field.
Giant ADOT.
I mean, he's 10, 13, 12, 14. That's his last 4 games targets. Like, you're getting a double-digit targets from a player like that. I love Marquise Brown.
I think Minkah Fitzpatrick is going to, he's really good at defending the deep ball, which is kind of why I didn't like Marquise Brown this week, which is why I liked Mark Andrews, honestly. So what do you think about that matchup? Or at least limiting the yards per target?
This is more of like, I'm not as worried about the matchup as I am just how peppered he gets, and all it takes is like one. He's a player that's so good for tournaments, and his air yards, especially unrealized air yards, are out of this world. And so I love Marquise Brown this week. I'm debating using him in my 500 in my Millie Maker this week. He's like one of the plays that I'm really debating. And if I don't really, the thing is, why I don't know if I want to use Lamar is I could see this game being like going under.
There's a chance.
And I don't want to because if I'm playing Lamar and Marquise Brown, I feel like I have to run it back, and that means I'm probably going to play Deontay. That means I'm relying on Big Ben. So I might just use Marquise Brown as like one of my one-off plays and stack a different game. But I do love, he's my favorite receiver from this game. I still like Deontay Johnson a lot. He's another guy that gets like 13 targets every single game. So those are my two favorite plays from that game. And then of course I'm gonna have a little interest in Ravens defense because Big Ben. I mean, he's just terrible. So I will have a little bit of Ravens D. But yeah, I like Marquis Brown a lot. One of my favorite receivers of the week. Last game, we have San Francisco going into Seattle. We'll start off with Nick here.
Yeah, I think we're all sitting here holding our breath, waiting for Russell Wilson to come back. What's going on?
I don't
He's
know.
not out 4 to 6 weeks with that finger. Obviously tough on the throwing hand. Maybe it's grip strength, maybe it's something with the accuracy. It's clearly not right. They rushed him back. He doesn't look like the same old Russell Wilson. I know people are like, oh, he's fine. He's running around. I'm like, he's running around because he can't throw the ball. Like, he's trying to make something happen. Outside of that, Pete Carroll play calling is like miserable. I don't even want to play anyone from the Seahawks this game, honestly.
Pass.
I think one of the best matchups of the week is Elijah Mitchell against just a Swiss cheese of a defense and run defense there in Seattle. So that's one of my favorite plays. I don't hate Kittle. Debo's out. Just something to note there. So AU could also be a good play, but I still like Jimmy G a lot. Like he's always lower price, so he's been playing great, and I'm not going to be afraid to play him in a couple lines this week.
Yeah, I mean, you pretty much covered everything I was going to say there, Nick. Fade the Seahawks. Russ he clearly rushed back, and like I like Russ, but to have like clearly your team go out to media and be like, oh my God, this dude is Wolverine. He came back from this injury that was supposed to keep him out for 8 weeks and he did it in 6, and all that BS, all that smoke.
Hoopla.
To then come back and play like ass.
Yeah.
Like definitely not be fully back and fully healthy. Like I've got zero pity for the guy after all that stuff. That being said, he definitely goes out and fights every week. He's a great leader, but I just don't think he's got, the health to put anything together here. Fade the Seahawks. And Nick, that IU call with Debo being out. Debo has, I don't know the percentage, but the amount of usage he gets on offense is huge. So yeah, Ayuk and Kittle are going to inevitably replace some of that usage, as well as Mitchell, because they've been running Debo out of the backfield a bunch too. So like those three guys, I think, are great plays against a horrible Seahawks defense.
Yeah.
I really think Russ has a big game here. And I know you guys are just like, how would you think that?
He might. I mean, he's got to have a comeback party at some point.
He's still Russ. I mean, he's still Russ.
Yeah, I think he's still Russ. And, it's just like every time I see a report, I just am like, this is your solution. They come out with a report. I thought it's like an article from The Onion. Like when they said that they're obviously in win now mode. So they signed Adrian Peterson. Like what do you do? Like no one can read that and think that they're being serious, but they are. It's like, I don't understand it whatsoever. You think they can't make a poor decision and then they do something like that. It's terrible. But I do think that they look and they're like, okay, they're looking back on that game. Like, when did we look like we were a real football team and played? It was in that last 2-minute drill when you have Russ out there, faster paced. You have DK Metcalf, you have Tyler Lockett. You have these two pretty, like, especially Metcalf is a stud receiver, like pass the ball to him. And so I do think one of those two it could have a really big game here. I want to be overweight on them in tournaments. Now I haven't pulled the trigger. I don't know if I'm going to play Russ yet in tournaments. I don't know, but I do like Elijah Mitchell a ton. He's one of the running backs that probably will be in my main tournament lineup this week. Seahawks have such a bad run defense. Elijah Mitchell is getting so many touches. That's what the 49ers like to do. Now you don't even have Debo in there that can vulture a few carries. Like Elijah Mitchell could just eat in this game.
He's only 6K.
I know.
Great.
Against the 31st run defense in the league.
Yeah, they're not good. And so I do worry about the pace of this game because if, we know the 49ers like to run divisional game. Second divisional games are also usually lower scoring than the first time they played. And so that's why I might just take pieces of the game, like maybe do like a mini stack where I do like Elijah Mitchell and then DK or Lockett to get like a mini correlation, but you're not full stacking the game. So that's kind of like where I'm at with this game. And yeah, I'll have Kittle in my player pool. I love Kittle. So
yeah, he's awesome.
Yeah, I think that kind of about does it for this slate. Now we'll go through and we'll each give we already gave Corey's conviction plays, but we'll go ahead and each give our conviction play and then build a lineup and get out of here.
All right.
So we'll start with you at quarterback. What's your conviction?
Lamar.
Nick?
This is tough. Maybe you go. I'm thinking on this one.
I was kind of thinking too. I think I know who it is, but I'm going with Derek Carr, I think.
That's what I was gonna say.
Well, hey, maybe that's the sign right there.
There you go.
All right, we were both thinking on it and came to the same.
I mean, if
conclusion.
Renfro's your favorite, if Renfro's your favorite receiver, it's hard not to have Carr as your. Except that's where we'll be different because I'll be playing more like Djax and Edwards and things like that. But
Corey went with Herbert. I don't think we said that earlier, but his conviction at QB was Herbert.
Okay, Corey's is Herbert. I do like Herbert too. Next we're at running back. What's your conviction?
I'll start. I like Elijah Mitchell.
Yeah, that was one of mine.
I'll go Jamal Williams then.
Man, that was the other one I was going to take. At least we're like on the same wavelength in running backs. We have Elijah Mitchell, Jamal Williams.
Yeah.
Mine would be Sony Michel if Henderson's out. But if you guys took those two, I'm going to have to pick someone else. I don't think I can. I'm just going to – I'm just picking Williams and I'm just, confirming your.
What about Mixon or Eckler? What about one of those guys?
I like them, but I'm not convicted on them like I am Williams and Elijah Mitchell.
Yeah.
But I guess my lock one to those two, but I do actually think Henderson sits this week. I think it's serious enough to where they want him for playoffs and they're playing the Jaguars, and I think they
don't need him.
And that would make Sony Michel my
OBJ day.
So next we're at receiver. What's your conviction at receiver?
Nick?
Yeah, I liked Hunter Renfrow a lot this week, just given his matchup. Missing their number one target eater, so I think he's going to have a great day.
Yeah, give me I'll have to go low at tight end, but because I took the highest quarterback and I'm about to take the highest wide receiver on the slate.
I mean, with your conviction, like you can fit Lamar and Kupp in if Kupp's your conviction.
Yeah, Kupp that's the guy this week.
Man, I think it's Marquis Brown for me. I just think he could have a big game, and that's definitely off the wall. But I like him a lot.
Don't hate it.
Yeah. Next we have tight end.
Go ahead. Why don't you go first?
Tight end, my conviction would probably be Kyle Pitts.
Tampa's not very good against tight ends. 25th in the league.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nick?
Go ahead, Nick.
I like Mark Andrews. I'm going to pay up for him or Kittle in pretty much all my lineups this week. I just like him against the Steelers.
Yeah, I'll go with Kittle here. I think he sees a lot of the target share and reps that Debo was getting.
All right. Now we'll build a lineup and get out of here.
All right.
Well, we didn't do favorite defense, but
defense.
The Rams.
The Rams are one of mine. For me, it's Rams and Raiders.
Can that be my number one pick in our lineup build?
Yeah,
it's in there.
It's in there. Lock it in.
Lock it in.
Jalen Ramsey, first touchdown of the year. Talk about conviction. I know it's going to happen.
Alex, do you have any play you want to get in there?
On defense?
I mean, if your conviction is Lamar and mine's Marquis Brown, I mean, why not?
Stack them up.
But then I think we're probably gonna have to bring it back with a Steeler, and just this would be our our tournament pivot off of some of the other games.
Yeah.
I mean, Deontay Johnson's 6,800, but he's going to be on, or Marlon Humphreys is going to be on him.
So does that matter? Is Marlon Humphreys good now?
Claypool's healthy.
Yeah. I almost like Claypool more. I'm not picking a Steeler. That's against my religion, but
well, we pick another play. I'll pick the Steeler.
Yeah, give me Odell.
Okay. So we're doing like an Odell Rams type thing. That means we can't really pick any other Jag or Ram.
Yeah, that's all right.
All right. Let's put Deontay Johnson in there.
We'll see if we can squeeze Jamal in here a little bit.
Definitely
running back.
Salary savings.
Yeah.
And Mitchell. Oh, that'll be my.
Oh, hey, you went, Nick.
You picked Deontay.
I went Deontay. You went. Oh, it's back. It is back to you, isn't it?
All right, Mitchell. It is.
So what do we have? We have 4K left.
Tight end and flex.
Yeah. I think I'm just gonna do the leverage off of Foster Moreau, who's gonna be popular, and do Ryan Griffin.
Robert? Wait. No way. Oh.
No.
I was gonna say. I thought that was RG.
No. Yeah, he's the
Jet. I know. I thought that was RG3 for a second. I was like,
on Tampa Bay.
On the Bucs. What?
That's funny.
Okay. So we got.
What do we have to fill in? Hopefully, it's a good one.
5400. Colt McCoy. No.
No, go to flex.
Yeah, let's go to flex. Yeah.
We talked about Jalen Reynolds at 3,400.
No, we have 5,400 for one spot.
Yeah, I'm just saying
I mean, Miles Sanders is there, just tempting us.
We talked about Russell Gage.
Yeah, Russell Gage.
Yeah.
I like him better than everyone else right there.
Yeah. That works for me.
Salary.
Yeah, 100 remaining.
All right, lock it in.
I don't mind it. The other alternative is going down from the Rams and then spending up at the flex. But if that's your conviction, then we'll stick with the Rams.
So PB, you're playing Lamar in the Millie Maker this week?
No, I haven't decided on my stack I'm doing. I haven't decided on the stack for my big tournament.
Are you worried that
Lamar was one of the ones that I was considering for sure, because like he has the potential to just get so many points, and he has such a high floor that I really just wouldn't have to worry about that position. And he hasn't scored a rushing touchdown since like week 2, and he still has had a pretty high floor. So it's just like his ceiling is so high.
Are you worried at all that all of our listeners are going to just steal your picks?
Well, no, they don't know the other receivers that I'm going to enter, and like what quarterback I'm actually. And are they really going to put in a bunch of entries in a $555 tournament?
Never know. You don't know who our listeners are.
I'm gunning for it just to play against you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still not. I don't know what my lineup's going to be yet. I just know, some of the plays I mentioned are definitely going to be in there. So, yeah, that's going to do it for this show. Hopefully, you guys win some money. Maybe I can win this million. Maybe someone else in here can win the $20 millionaire maker, and we'll have a great week next week.
Hell yeah,
couple million. Off the board.
Shout out to our international listeners too. You guys are awesome, whoever the hell you are.
Wherever you are, we love you.
True.
But yeah, please, if you're on the podcast, please leave a review. It helps boost in the algorithm. If you're on YouTube, please like, subscribe, comment, helps out the channel a lot. And we'll see you next week for week 14.
Adios.
Peace.